All right, so let's discuss a little bit about the film 12. This is directed by Joel Schumacher, a love and hated director. Fully like on one spectrum to the next. There's no in between with Joel Schumacher. This guy made the Batman and Robin film, which a lot of people despise. I wasn't a big fan of it, but he did also Lost Boys, which is one of the most praised vampire movies there ever has been made, pretty much. I have never seen the Lost Boys, so I can't discuss the Lost Boys yet. I have to see the film. But yeah, the guy's all over the place. Rest in peace as well, because he did pass away a couple years ago. So but yeah, he's made a spectrum of, of different films, and 12. I find this is one that's like not talked about pretty much. I think it got a 5.8 on IMDb, 5.8 or 5.6, but I think it's 5.8, and on Rotten Tomatoes, which Rotten Tomatoes is again, it's another one that's all over the place. I don't really take movie ratings all that seriously. I'd rather just watch them for myself and decide how I feel about them. But Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 3%. A 3%. So I used to follow Rotten Tomatoes the most, but I started following IMDb a little bit more. 3%. I mean, like, come on, like three out of 100. No, it's not a great film. This film is all over the place. This film is very the direction is just, I don't even know how to like. This film is like if you took like a flashy like celeb show on mainstream television and made it a thriller instead of like not a comedy, a mockumentary or whatever you want to call it. Like, you know how they make the documentaries on like the Kardashians or the Osbournes or something like that. If you took a concept like that but made it like a dramatic thriller instead of life of whoever, that would be 12. So basically, the gist of 12 is a drug. So 12 is something that's going, out on the streets. It's like a mix of cocaine or ecstasy, like all blended in one or whatever. And people are getting hooked on it. And it follows this guy named White Mike. And White Mike is like the middleman of distributing this drug from whoever kind of creates it, and he you talk to somebody, and then he'll hook you up with White Mike, White Mike, and then White Mike will give you the like you'll pay him, and he'll give you the drug. But it follows like so many people, and there's so many stories. I mean, I had to watch this film 4 times to really be able to talk about it and describe it in a way that I would be able to feel comfortable with. Because watching this like for the first and second time, I'm like, there's so many people, and everybody who watches this channel already knows that when it comes to people's names and stuff like that, like I have to like keep track of everything. There are so many people, to the point where I put like my notes like like White Mike's story, Charles and 50 Cent's story, or Lionel, his name is in the movie, Jessica's story, Molly's story, Nana and Hunter, sorry, Chris's story, Claude's story. Like it just goes on. Like it's so squeezed together because this film is only like an hour and a half. But Mike White is like the main guy because he's dealing to these characters and these party people, and it's basically about him basically fucking everybody's life up. he's the guy who gives the goods, but at the same time, ruins everybody's life. So White Mike is like the guy who provides all this drug called 12. Then we got Charles and 50 Cent Story. Charles is Mike White's cousin who gets shot by Lionel, played by 50 Cent. He gets shot in like a apartment building or something like that because of a bad drug deal. Like he wants the drugs, and he's so addicted that he basically wants to steal it from Lionel, and Lionel ends up shooting him. But then he shoots a witness too, and the witness is his name is Nana, I think it is. And he just goes up to this random guy, and he puts the gun to his head and he shoots a big all because he witnessed the situation. That's all it is. So he kills this poor innocent guy over this drug deal that he just was in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's horrible. It's awful. Like it's absolutely awful. And then there's this other guy named Hunter who earlier on he was having a basketball game with Nana. Nana, it sounds like a woman's name, but the guy is it's a male, a young male, whose name I think it's Nana. That's how they say it in the film, but or Nana maybe. I'll just say Nana. Nana and Hunter were having a basketball game, and then they got into a really big fist fight, and they like beat the shit out of each other. And Nana went off and later on was killed. But there's this whole police investigation with Hunter, which didn't really make a lot of sense because they connected blood with blood, like blood on his shoes, and they like brought Hunter in as like the killer of Nana, and I was just it didn't make any sense because they didn't like they clearly showed it as Lionel, 50 Cent's character, shooting Nana in the head in the apartment building. But then they're like investigating Hunter because because he got into a fist fight with Nana, he has his blood on him, and they're like, "Oh, you killed Nana. The times matched. You left at this hour. This crime happened at this hour, and the hours matched." And Hunter just went for a walk, pretty much. But like it just didn't make because how did they not get any ID from Lionel, from 50 Cent's character? Like there's fingerprints. They're just blaming Hunter the whole time, and it's like he may have been in the area, but he doesn't own a weapon. It didn't make any sense. Like the direction on that part just didn't make any sense. There's this character named Molly who is really good friends with, well, she's in love basically with White Mike, the drug dealer, but she doesn't know he is a drug dealer, and she's just so in love with this guy, and she's such a sweet girl. She's played by Emma Roberts. Uh, she's so beautiful, Emma Roberts. She plays this. Everybody in this film is very dolled up. The guys, like they're very model looking. The females, they're very pretty looking. Like it's like a film that I know what the director is trying to portray. It's like the celebrity life versus the mediocre life, basically, and how there's like no in between other than Mike White distributing drugs for his own personal and selfish reasons, and how everybody gets screwed over in the end. The people in the huge ass like $1 million homes, and the people who are just trying to have parties in the $1 million homes, and I think this is a very hard film to describe because it is well like the writing is well designed, and it has a great concept and plot to it. I just think it was not directed or executed, I should say, in the proper way that that it was intended to be. So I think that's where the problem lies in it, because Joel Schumacher again is he's not a bad director. He has a vision. He's done great films. He's done poor films as well, but he's not a bad director in any sense necessarily. I just think he didn't have the vision of the way this film was written to portray it in the sense that it was intended to, or the story that it was intended to tell, kind of thing. But Emma Roberts is in love with Mike White. Doesn't know he's a drug dealer. She finds out he is in the end of it. You have this guy named Chris, who is a very insecure guy and just likes to throw parties because he likes to feel important. He's in love with this girl Sarah. Sarah's, excuse my language, she's a bit of a cunt. She uses him. Her favorite line to say is, "I'm not a slut. Different guys are just interesting to me for different reasons." So she busts that out to Chris, obviously, who throws the parties, clearly wanting to get Sarah, but Sarah goes to the party that Chris threw. There's a scene where she's like, "You're ruining my party," and she like literally blurts that out. She's like, "You're ruining my party." It's not her party. Chris threw it for her, who she's making out with another guy with at the party, and Chris wants to get with her because he threw the party for Sarah, but Sarah makes out with another guy and then claims that it's her party. Like, go fuck yourself, pretty much. You know what I mean? Like, there's girls like that. She's I mean, she's beautiful, but like, my God, like, are you serious? Like, really, really? Anyway, this is not going to be a heated review, but then there's Carl, I think his name is. It's Chris's brother, Claude. Claude, there you go. Claude is this guy who basically went to rehab. He has many like psychological problems. He gives Chris such a hard time. He comes home from I think a mental ward or something like that. He goes to like an underground either I think it's Japanese store because they sell him a katana, like a sword. They call it a katana. So I assume it's Japanese because katanas are Japanese. But he goes to the store and he buys it for however it's underground. They sell it to him for cash, and he brings it home and he also owns a weapon. And the guy Chris is hosting two parties in the film. And the second party is where this guy Claude goes batshit, and he owns a weapon, and he just starts firing like shots all over the place, and then he brings out his freaking katana and starts swinging it. But he brings out this gun, and it's not like it's a pistol, like it's a fucking it's a gun, and he comes out the door, and he shoots this guy in the head. Like he just, and I'm not kidding. You have to see the movie to understand what I'm talking about. The guy goes, "Ow!" I rewind it. I rewind it. I'm like, what? He, ow. No, no, no. That's a and then he kept like running down the stairs and firing shots, and everybody there was a point where the police he went out the door and he started trying to fire at the police officers, and the police officers gunned him down. This was a fucking gun. It wasn't a duck uh, rifle. What? How, unless he like had like the most terrible aim in the world and like somehow like got the guy's ear or something. But no, that bullet would be going through his forehead. That it's I I I oh my god, like it didn't make any sense for me. Um there's also a narration by Kiefer Sutherland. Kiefer Sutherland narrates the whole film, which I really feel like it's out of place. Like if he's great as a narrator, and that's what Joel Schumacher, sorry, wanted to go with. Like Kiefer Sutherland did an amazing job in Phone Booth. He was the guy on the phone. But for a film like this that kind of carries itself already with the story and the elements and the character studies of each character, for again, some are done well, some are kind of out of place and don't make a lot of sense. But Kiefer Sutherland does a great, like he can do narration, like he does a good job, but it just doesn't fit in the film. Like it doesn't fit at all. It's like, why is this guy describing things, and why is there like random scenes of like a white background and histories of people, like there's a scene where White Mike is having a drink with Hunter and Charles, his cousin. They're drinking like wine, and the entire background is white. And they go stylistically like that, but it's kind of like it's random. It doesn't fit with the theme. It's just it's a strange direction style, but you can tell Schumacher that's what he was going for. Jessica's character I really liked. She's played by uh, Emily Mead. Emily Mead. Emily Mead is, oh my god, she is so gorgeous. Emily Mead, she is. I can't even whistle, but I'm trying to. She is a stunner, man. Oh man, and she gets hooked on 12. She gets hooked on 12. Um, and she, White Mike hooks her up with it, but Lionel is the one who like provides it, and like White Mike is the middleman kind of thing, and she wants Lionel's number, but Lionel is like very discreet, played by 50 Cent, and the guy who shot Charlie at the beginning of the film, so he's kind of a sketchy guy to begin with, and so is White Mike, but she gets hooked on it, and she really wants to go to the source, which is by Lionel, and she keeps insisting and insisting, and he's like, no, no, but eventually he does. And then she gets so hooked on the drug that she can't afford it anymore, and then she offers herself, so she said, she says, I'll give you a blowjob, and Lionel's like, oh, it's an expensive blowjob, $1,000 blowjob, are you really? And then she offers to have sex with him, and she's like, I'm a virgin, and I'm like, are you? You're like you're hanging out with Sarah, the chick that claims that she's throwing a party when she's not throwing a party, and she's hanging out with like in this like $1 million homes every weekend, having house parties and getting wasted and doing 12, and but never had sex. I mean, it's possible. Hey, it's possible. I'm not saying it's not you know a possibility, but I I would question if you're a virgin to with that lifestyle. I would ask him, like, I'm a virgin and I'll have sex with you for drugs, Yeah, it's the Molly story is the one that's big. Like, cause she was so in love with White Mike, and she's such a beautiful girl. Like I said, Emma Roberts is such a gorgeous chick, and she loved him. Like, she really loved him. That was the most genuine story. Like, you had the Hunter and Nana story where like it didn't make any sense because why would they be looking for Hunter when yeah, he was in the area, but they're like, oh, you have your blood on him, but they wouldn't look for Lionel. That didn't make any sense. But um, uh, Emma Roberts, Molly, her character, her love for White Mike was like really legit. And then when she found out at the end of the film that he was a drug dealer, and her line was, you don't drink, you don't do drugs, but you live a life where you get everybody else fucked up, and that is so much more fucked up than you can possibly get. Like, that's real. And she said, "Don't call me until you stop dealing." And she just walked out like he was in the hospital after a violent situation in this house party, and that was powerful. So it's just a film where a lot of stories are happening, and a lot of stories are happening a little bit too fast. And it's only an hour and a half film, and maybe it would have worked better as a series, um, because it kind of feels like an anthology already, with a bunch of people's like stories going on and stuff like that. Maybe it was just a bit too. Excuse me, I'm hiccuping. Maybe it's just a bit too short. Um, but it certainly wasn't like a 3% film. I think this is one of Joel Schumacher's films that definitely should be watched and discovered, especially if you can stream it somewhere. It's not a horrible film by any means. It's just directed in a interesting way, and in a way that may not be for everybody, but you can tell that Joel Schumacher like put his heart and soul into it. So I mean, that's why I love cinema. It's cinema's, every film is not going to be for everybody, but every film, no matter what it is, no matter if it's like, B movie, like $300 budget, or if it's The Godfather, every director puts his or her heart and soul into every project that they want to make. So it is what it is. Kind of sidetracking, like Ty West was involved in Cabin Fever 2, but he kind of dropped out of it because he like the production, the studio was going in a direction that he didn't want to it wasn't his vision. Like, his vision was for something, and the production studio went for something else, and he's like, no, what are you doing? And he has his name on it, but it's not, it wasn't like the finished product was not what he wanted, and that's gotta suck, and all that. But yeah, that's a side note anyway. I'm just saying, like, every director, when they go into a film, they want to make it their own. It's like their baby sometimes. And you can tell that Joel Schumacher like had a vision with this one. So that's basically my point anyway. But I'm gonna stop rambling, and I think I covered my notes. And you should watch 12, because it's a very interesting film, to say the least. And the only thing I didn't like about 12 is Kiefer Sutherland's narration, and it's not because he's a bad narrator. Again, like, I don't want to make it seem that way, because he's a very good narrator. Phone booth, like, he's awesome in phone booth. It just it didn't seem like it fit in this film. That's all. That's all. It's not that he did a bad job at all. because he did an awesome job. It didn't seem like it fit with the theme of the film, basically. Also, if you like sexy girls, I mean Emma Roberts, stunner. Emily Reed, Emily Mead, sorry. Oh my God, stunner. She walks in her panties. She comes down the stairs. And then Kiefer Sutherland is like Emma. Her character Jessica. Jessica has kept every single teddy bear that's ever been given to her in her entire life. And she has like 100 teddy bears. From daddy, from boyfriends, from whoever. She wakes up. She has like the most perfect hair, like the type of hair that no girl gets out of bed and has. Like it's just like perfect, like curled and everything. Walks down the stairs. She's got like the shortest shorts that like underwear basically. If they were half an inch shorter, it would be panties. But like because they have that little half inch, it's just, she walks and she's strutting. She's just like, and then she goes to the fridge. She grabs a drink of like an energy drink or something. Closes the door. There's this guy who says, "Hey, I'm Johnny," or whatever he says, and she's like, "Aren't you a little old to be Johnny?" Just walks away. This was a guy who was hooking up with her mom. Oh, her sexy ass. That's my point. Oh man, oh man. Her she's in her 20s when she made the film, but I think she's playing somebody maybe not 20, so maybe I shouldn't talk about that. I don't know. But Emily Mead, I'm just saying, Emily Mead is an actress. Gorgeous girl, gorgeous girl. Yeah, I think that's enough rambling. So, subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like my content, or if you want to check out my other reviews. Check out 12 if you have not already, if you're a Joel Schumacher fan, or if you like any of the people in here, Emma Roberts, 50 Cent, Rory Culkin, and anybody else that I did not mention. It's an entertaining film, to say the least. So, yeah, stay tuned, subscribe if you're interested, and until next review, take care and cheers.